picture. So you've got to create pictures in your mind of things that you want, not things that you have, not your current results. Don't focus on what's going on right now unless it's what you want. Focus on what you do want. This is you today as an adult. That is you as a child. If anybody in here has children under the age of 10, pay attention to this slide because it's very, very critical that you understand this. We have a conscious faculty developed when we're an adult. That means that if I came over to you and I gave you an idea, you could say, you know what, I don't want to hear that. I don't believe that. Or if you turned on the news and something negative came on, you could say, I don't want to hear that. I don't believe that. I'm going to create my own economy. As an adult, we can do that. The problem is, as a child, we couldn't do that, and your children can't do it either, because our conscious faculty is not developed. It's the age before reason. So what ends up happening is ideas, thoughts, and images from other people start going straight into the subconscious mind of our children, and it creates the paradigm. And that's why you're just like your mother, just like your father. That's exactly what happens, because you can't stop it. You can't say, no, I don't want to believe that. And you become a product of somebody else's ideas, beliefs, and habits. You have to understand this. It can be altered. Now, it took a long time to make you the way you are. It did. It took a long time. So you're not going to change that overnight. But through spaced repetition, you will change it. You have the ability to do that through putting a new idea into your mind over and over and over again. Just like you learned your name over and over and over again. Just like you learned the alphabet over and over and over again. The alphabet, right? Can anybody even say the alphabet without singing it, right? We're conditioned to do it singing because that's the way we learned it. Well, the same thing with your bad habits. And you can create new habits by repetition as well. So that's you today. That's you as an infant. And if you have infants, if you have young children, be careful. I have a friend of mine. His name is Joe Loud. He's on Cape Cod. He has a 2-year-old. I think he's just about 2. Wonderful little boy. And I was on the phone with him, and his child was kind of acting up and stuff like that, and he was putting him down to bed. So as he's putting him down in his crib, he turns on some music. It was like some Barney or one of those things, one of those little kid things. My kids are 20 and 23 or whatever, so I don't remember any of these. But anyways, plays this stuff. And I'm like, what are you playing? He says, oh, some kid thing. And I said, why don't you put in, and he studies with me, okay? And there's a program that Bob Proctor teaches. It's called the Freedom Series. It's a series of CDs. I go, why don't you put in the Freedom Series and let him listen to that? So it's funny. He goes, oh, I'm going to do that, right? It's all positive stuff. So he puts it in there, and he starts letting him listen to it. 2 weeks goes by, and he sends me a video the other day. I wish I brought it to show you guys. I should have put it up here. He has his little boy standing there, and he turns on the Freedom Series CD. And it starts out with this music. And this little boy is jumping up and down. He's listening to the music. He's all excited because he's been listening to this at night while he's sleeping. And he's listening, and all of a sudden, Bob starts talking. And he does one of these. And he's just listening. And then he's reaching up, and he's listening. He's already been conditioned. He's already listening to him. It was so amazing, that video, because he's now conditioning him to think new thoughts. And he's just a little boy. But that's how you learned how to speak English, or whatever language you speak. You could take a baby that was born here in Bellingham, you could ship them off to China, and they'd speak Chinese, right? It doesn't matter where you're born, it's the conditioning, it's the programming. So he's programming his child. See, children need to make up their mind. They need to make up their mind, so we can help them make up their mind with positive stuff. Adults need to change their mind. And because we need to change our mind, it's hard. So that's why it takes some work. That's why it takes personal development, professional development, working with somebody or getting programs or reading books, okay, over and over again until you impress a new idea into your subconscious mind. So paradigms shape our logic. You have something that you truly want, and your paradigm, your filter, you filter this thing that you truly want through your paradigm, and you say, I can't do that. It doesn't logically make sense to me because I've never had that before. It's like the idea of wanting to earn millions of dollars, but you look at your W-2 or your 1099 or your financial statement, and you've only earned $50,000. So logically, it doesn't make sense. So guess what? You give up on the dream. The thing is that $50,000 that you earned isn't your potential earning, it's your past earning. It's the way you thought in the past. It has no bearing or reflection on what you could earn in the future, but we allow the result, the physical result, to hold us back from what we want. We allow the report card to hold us back from what we want. If I allowed my report card to dictate my life, I don't know where I'd be, because I didn't have a good report card. But I ignored that, because that was a reflection of the way I used to think and the way I used to do things. If I looked at the income that I had when I was an auto mechanic, I wouldn't be where I am today, because that was a reflection of the way I used to be, not the way I could be. People will look at their medical records and allow the medical record to hold them back from doing things in their life because the medical record says they're sick. The medical record is an indication of what you were, not what you're going to be. And people hold themselves back all the time. And then you hear the stories of those people that don't look at their current results. They're sick on paper, but they go out and do things that most people would never even imagine doing. See, this is how you've got to think. You've got to forget about the physical results. It doesn't mean anything. That all that is what you were thinking in the past and what you did in the past. You change your future by changing the way you think. And if you do that, everything changes for you. Your life will completely turn around. It shapes our perception. We talked about perception, right? With perception, the whole idea behind perception is just looking at things a different way. That's all you have to do. If there's one thing that you take out of this seminar tonight is when you leave here, start looking at things differently. Say, how would somebody who's successful look at this situation? How would somebody else look at that? Change everything. Shift your thinking. It controls our time. People say I don't have enough time. We all have the same amount of time. We have all there is, but some people don't think they have enough time, and they're unproductive. Our effectiveness, our productivity, and our ability to earn money, it holds people back in earning money because their paradigm is the filter that says, I've never earned a lot of money, so I'm never going to be able to earn a lot of money. And it's simply not true. You've got to alter the perception, you've got to alter the paradigm, okay? So what are paradigms? There are a multitude of habits, but they're other people's habits that were passed on to you from generation to generation. Simple as that. Other people's ideas, beliefs, and habits. It happens in business. If you own your own business, you probably have some business paradigms that you need to understand. And if some of you had a business that's been around for a long time, you need to really take a look and say, okay, some of the things I'm doing habitually holding me back. Are they serving me, these things that I'm doing? Because I was doing them when I started and I'm still doing them now. I'll give you an example, a story about a brewery back when they went from bottles to cans. This brewery was growing, they went to canning, and they ended up getting all kinds of accounts all over the place for grocery store chains and whatnot to offer their products. And they were having this huge event, and they had all the management staff there from the current company, and then generations past, because this was a big event. And there was this manager who was the logistics manager. He was in charge of getting all the shipments out to the various locations, was sitting at a table with the previous manager and the manager before him, several generations of management. And he said, I'm really concerned about this big change that we have here. He said, I don't know how logistically we're going to be able to move this product the way that they want us to move it, where we're growing so quickly. He said, because the policy in the company is that we need to take the product and move it to the furthest places. So when we're shipping stuff out, we need to drive to the furthest places on Monday and Tuesday. And then come Wednesday, Thursday, we go to more closer places, right, logistically. And then on Friday, we only make local deliveries. And he says the trucks are around and they're just driving around here when they could be going and making deliveries, you know, at longer distance deliveries. He says that's the policy and they don't want to change it. Because I don't understand it, but I'm going to have a difficult time getting the product out to all of our customers. So the manager before him says, you know what, that's the way we did it too. He said, I could barely do it that way. I can't imagine with the company growing the way it is that you're going to be able to make this work. So there was a gentleman there, an older gentleman that was there previous to them, earlier generation. And he was thinking for a moment, he thought about that's the way they did it way back when. And it occurred to him at that moment, he knew why. He said, hey, listen, you gotta talk to somebody about changing this policy. He said, I know why they do it that way. I know why they're only making local deliveries on Friday and they're making the long distance deliveries on Monday. He said, when I was working for the company, it was during World War II. And he said, there was a fuel shortage in World War II. And we had to take the trucks off the road and we had to put them aside and we had to go back to shipping things with horses. And he said, we shipped the things with the horses to the furthest distance on Monday and Tuesday. By Thursday and Friday, the horses were so tired that we had to only go local, and then they could rest on the weekends, and then they could go out again on Monday. You're still doing that now with trucks? And I was like, yeah, see, that was a paradigm. It was just a conditioned belief, and nobody... Right, yeah, right. So you might have that in your business. Maybe you're doing something in your business that you started doing when you first started your business, and you're still doing it today, and it's not serving you, but it became a habit. and you're doing it anyways, even though you know it's not working. And companies do this all the time. When I'm working with a company, the first thing I do is say, let's talk about your systems and processes, not because I really care about them, but I want to find out if they're systems and processes that started from day one when you had 3 employees and now you have 300. You see what I'm saying? Paradigms control you. They control your ability to earn money, your ability to be productive, your efficiency, all that, just like that example with the brewery. And it can happen in your business too. So you got to be really careful with that. Think about that. How have you been conditioned? We've all been conditioned